that stuff.
Okay, so I'm recording right now, okay? So we'll talk about it a little bit. So let's talk about endings. So some real common endings that you hear at the end of fills or the end of songs might be something like this or this.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. It's done. I love it. It's done. That's what it says. It's done.
Yeah, and so the first one I did is a 4-note group: snare, first tom, floor tom, bass drum. And the way I'm thinking of it is like a drag. So if you played a regular drag on a snare drum, slowing it down. So that's a drag, okay? The 3-note drag. So I'm kind of doing this in that context. These 3 notes, I'm not playing them really loud because those aren't the important notes to me. The important note is that bass drum. That bass drum is the ending. That's like that's the dot or the exclamation mark that says you're done. And so what we're doing is we're leading up to that. So other variations of this kind of sound, besides that 4-note grouping I did, is a 3-note grouping where you can do like 2 on the floor tom and then hit the bass. Like that. But you can do 3 here, but you could do it on the floor tom as well if you wanted to. And
I like the other better. I like the other better.
And it just kind of depends on the sound you're going for. I've used all of these variations for different things that I thought sounded good. Even stuff like this, like if I'm doing another 4-note group where I use the second tom, first tom, floor tom, and then the bass. And if you think of it, there's like nuances here. Boom, bum, bum, boom. Bum, bum. It's like a different kind of melody.
Yeah, right.
As opposed to, because maybe you don't want that snare sound in there. Maybe you just want, but you don't want it to sound super low, like that. Like that's really low sounding. This has some more mid-range. And all the drums kind of resonate with each other.
Right.
So it affects kind of the overall sound you're getting. Okay, so that bass drum note, when I'm landing on it, it's landing on a beat. Usually it's a beat 1. So if I'm doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Or another common place might be on 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, if it's the kind of song where everything's just stopping on 4. Listen to this. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's a beat 1 version. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Now, the songs can end on like beat 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And you know, I don't have any specific song examples to mention at the moment, but like I'm hearing melodies in my head when I'm doing this. Like this has a sound to it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1.
When you're I've always done just a double stroke drag. I mean, I could do the other one, but I got to see how you're doing it though.
So it's right, left, right.
Okay.
Foot. Right, left, right, foot.
That's what I
Try
need.
that. Just do it slow.
That's what I need to know.
And, you know, when I started learning some of these little licks, they weren't easy for me at first. Like, they take getting used to. And it's not that they're, like, overly complicated or anything. It's just the way it feels.
Right.
It's different.
So you're doing bass, you're doing floor tom?
Snare with your right hand.
Okay. And
then left hand on the first tom. And then floor tom with the right hand. Yeah.
Oh.
And because it's very ergonomic, it's easy to play quickly.
Right. Whoops. I'm not doing it after. So. Wait.
Yeah.
And if you were doing the drag, when are you doing? Are you doing the drag here?
No. This is the drag applied to multiple drums.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, and you just did it right. Now, I'm kind of thinking what might be good for you too while we're talking about these little licks, because you'll use these in fills, are permutations of these sort of things between your foot and your hands. So
and I need that really bad.
So here's some really common ones. Here's a 2 up, 1 down.
Okay.
Which is 2 up, 1 down on the bass.
All right.
Yeah, and you can do it on any drum you want. I just did it on the snare.
Okay.
But just to keep things simple, let's keep it on the snare. So what I'm just doing is right, left, foot. Now, you have a 3-note pattern there. So it's going to be really easy for us to just transfer that over to like a triplet groove of some sort. So repeating that would sound like this. But notice how they're all even. Alright, good. Now, an obvious variation to that would be starting with your left hand. Left, right foot, left, right foot. So, it's the same thing, just start with the other hand. Okay, and then here's two more variations of that same thing. Two rights, foot. And then you can transfer that over to the left hand. Okay, now we're starting with the two up and then the foot down, but you can reverse that and do the foot first and then the two up after that.
Okay.
It's the same thing, it's just flip-flops.
Okay.
So I'm leading with the bass drum right now. Okay, now the question is, why would we, if we're just playing the snare drum, work on these different variations? Right, left, right, double left. Well, here's why. Because I just did a bunch of stuff around the drum set that if I just did one sticking for all of it, some of that could have been potentially dangerous or cumbersome to play.
Okay.
So one of the ones that I did was just, I took the right-left foot one, and what I did with it is I did my right hand on the snare, left hand on the little tom, foot, and then I alternated that with just moving my right hand over here. Same pattern, but
it sounded a lot more complicated.
So that's what it does.
Okay.
So like some of these big fills and stuff you hear at the end of songs,
yeah.
And then the...
I love that. I gotta have that charted. I'm almost afraid that ending. Perfect.
We're videoing
Okay,
it. You're going to have this. So try doing this one. You're going to go right, left, foot. Try that part. And just memorize that.
All right.
And then just move your right hand over here, and just your right hand, and right, left, foot. Well, the left hand will stay on the little tom. So the left hand, so for this particular pattern, the left hand stays on the little tom.
Oh, okay.
What's happening is the right hand goes from the snare to the floor.
Okay.
Yeah, try repeating that a few times.
Okay, all right. Let's say one. I keep wanting to come back on the snare. Okay, now this raises another question. A lot of times when you're playing swing and things, you aren't playing. You're playing on the rim like this. You just would do the same fills and just turn. I mean, it sounds stupid, but just do the same fills, or.
Okay, so if we're talking about doing a cross stick on the snare drum,
Yeah.
how do you get from the cross stick on the snare drum to playing normal?
Yeah.
Okay, well that's a preference thing because I've seen guys do it both ways. Obviously, if you're gonna, I've seen some guys just pick it up.
Okay.
But then again, I'm doing the cross stick with the stick flipped over.
Uh-huh.
So I've seen guys do stuff like this, but then your right stick, you got the tip up front, and then on your left stick you got the butt end of the stick up front. So you may have some sound quality differences, or you may just not even care. You know, just depending on what it is. Like if we're talking about specifically old school jazz kind of drumming, these guys were they didn't tend to have large drum sets, so they got very creative with the sounds that they were using by flipping sticks over or playing with different parts of a head or the drum.
Okay.
And it's just very interesting stuff. It's worth like sitting down and watching. Or, you know, you can flip it over if you're doing traditional and play that
It flips
normal.
over easy, unless when you're.
So you can do that.
Okay.
Or, you know, if you're doing a cross stick this way with the tip on the outside, you just pick it up.
For some reason, I never do. I always have the.
Oh, it doesn't generally sound as good. That usually sounds better.
Okay.
You know, for that gawk kind of sound. Okay, so what I did is I showed you a few versions of a 2 up, 1 down pattern, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, we can easily make that a 4 pattern, but this starts developing your foot speed, where
I need.
right, left, foot, foot.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's good. So now you have a 4-note pattern. Yeah, and then over time, as you practice it and get used to it.
Yeah, I want to do that. I really want to do that.
But see, you can take any combination of notes and create more variations. So like we've done a 3-note where it's 2 up, 1 down. We've done a 4-note now with a 2 up, 2 down.
Okay.
But you can use any number there that you want.
All
so
right.
like you could do 4 up front or on top, 2 on the bass. Yeah, and you know, usually just playing 1 or 2 notes on the foot at a time is going to be the most comfortable. Once you get into 3, it gets cumbersome.
Okay. Okay.
But there's another one I want to show you too before you go today. So we did 2 up and then whatever down.
Yeah.
But the way you do the 2 is either a right, left, left, right, or double left.
Okay.
What we're going to do now is a 3 up, 1 down.
Okay.
So the basic one would be right, left, right, foot. So you might think, well, when am I ever going to use that? Well, this is just applicable to the fill thing and to the big drum solo thing before you get to the end of a song. So
now you can incorporate drags in that too, right?
Yeah, you go.
Although it takes you don't.
Yeah, you can put rudiments in any of these, but the context that I'm kind of speaking in is these little things that I'm showing you that you can work on getting faster.
Okay.
Because here's what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do right, right foot, then left, left foot.
Okay.
Now tell me, does that feel kind of uncomfortable?
No.
Okay. Now if you can build up the speed on that, check out what happens. I'm going to do it just the way you did it.
Okay.
So it's just another idea.
I understand, and it sounds so difficult, but it's really not, because in our mind we know what we're doing.
Yeah, I'm not thinking about the sound. I just know it sounds crazy.
Yeah, yeah, it does.
And then you can move it around. And
That's what I need to know. That's what I really do need to know.
So it sounds crazy, but you know the way I explained it, it's really quite simple. And so, you know, you asked me last week about double bass, for instance, and I demonstrated a couple of things like this. Well, all the stuff I did there is based off of this same concept: is certain number of notes on top, certain number of notes on the bottom, going back and forth, developing speed, doing them different ways because maybe it's more comfortable to play at a certain sticking or whatever. But if you ever see somebody doing a big double bass drum solo on the drum set, they're usually doing something or incorporating all these ideas. Just going back and forth between the bass and the snare. And what's nice, or in the snare or hands and feet, is let's say you're playing really fast and maybe you can only get so many notes out before you run out of steam. Like that's, well, that was 7, but... So that's 6 notes. So let's say that's all I feel comfortable with playing up here. So I'm giving myself a little bit of a break with my hands just for the 2 notes that I'm playing on the bass drum.
I got it. Okay.
And then one other, we'll make this the last one just as it relates to this. So, you know, the thing I showed you earlier was the right, left, right foot. Well, it can be interpreted as a triplet. Triple lip 1, triple lip 2, or however you want to count it. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do the 3 on top and then 3 on the bottom.
Right.
But oh wait, when I say 3 on the bottom, I'm using 2 feet right now.
Oh.
That's hard to do with 1 foot. Like watch my feet. I'm using my feet the same way I'm using my hands.
Okay.
It's all about sticking. So I'm doing right, left, right, and then my feet are going right, left, right.
Oh, okay. I can't. I will never do that.
And that's okay. I'm just really kind of expanding your horizons so you can think about this different ways. Because then again, all right, you're a single bass drum player. Probably not going to do too much of the double stuff with your feet because that's hard to do. And yeah, and then your hands. all these patterns that I showed you, and you'll see this on the video here just as a review, but what you can start doing at home now is just start practicing things like that, and you'll get really excited about it because you're like, oh, I'm finally playing the stuff I've been hearing, but I didn't know what they were doing.
Right. Okay.
And it's not that complicated, which is really exciting too.
Okay. Okay. Oh, I'm excited.
And we can build on this next time as well, because I got a bunch of other patterns I can show you that are fun.
I love it. I love it.
But work on these ones.
That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted to know. So you'll send those to me.
Yes,
And you know what? Somehow you zapped out my email and were sending stuff to Larry's. I don't know. I